Good afternoon and welcome to the Backyard Farmer, where we specialize in growing our own food in our garden and creating farm-to-table recipes. Today we're harvesting carrots, and part of our recipe we're going to show you today is pickled baby Mexican style carrots. So first thing we're going to do is just pull up the carrots right out of the ground. Then we're going to actually do a classic canning process where we're going to have a little bit of spice to these pickled carrots. They're absolutely delicious. We've been doing this for a couple of years. So let's start with pulling the carrots out of the ground. So what do? About a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, we actually sowed the carrot seeds directly into the ground. And you make sure they get plenty of water. And what do they look like 4 or 5 months later? Delicious baby carrots. And obviously we planted them a little close to each other, but that's okay. We strive for imperfection here at 777 Fawn Farms. So then we take them, we rip off the ends, put them in a bucket of water just to keep them fresh. We make compost out of the ends, and that's how we get started from the backyard farm to the table. All right, so where do these carrots come from? We want to know. Welcome back to the Backyard Farmer. So we just harvested a bunch of carrots, but we're going to sow some new ones so that we can actually be eating them all the way through the summer season. So about 2 months ago, we sowed the group that we just harvested. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, I sowed this group of carrots over here. And now that I've harvested, I'm going to sow some new ones. So, carrots, teeny little seeds. Even with this little $3 contraption, I still manage to put twice as many seeds in the ground as I need to. But, just so you know, this little contraption is kind of, I forgot what it's called. We'll call it a seeder. You take your carrot seeds, send away, make sure they're organic, non-GMO. You put them in this little contraption, and you can see how teeny the seeds are. Then you put the top on it and you can kind of dial down to a hole that's about the size of the seeds. What you do is you just make a little, well, first you read the instructions, and it says that these should be deep, well-worked, stone-free soil. After danger of heavy frost, sow seeds thinly in rows 12 inches apart. Thinly. So, we'll just make a little row here, roughly 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch deep. We'll take our seed sower and just put the seeds in this row. And the good news is this kind of slows it down, and at least you can kind of do a measured number of carrot seeds in the rows. Then, once you've got your seeds in your row, you can take some of your soil on the side and just make it really fine and put your fine soil on top of the row. And that way, you'll have a nice bit of clean, beautiful soil. And then because I'm doing a drip system, I just take my drip line and I remember roughly where I've put my seeds, and I just put the drip line in to surround my soon-to-be delicious carrots. So the first step after we take these beautiful carrots out of the ground is to what's called top and tail them. So, you know, these are not that pretty, but you would want to take the bottom off. And I like to leave just a teeny bit of green, and that's all presentation. There's no particular reason. Most people like to actually peel them, but since so much of the nutrients are in the skin, I just take a little scrape with my knife and just scrape along a little bit, leave most of the skin in the outside, and then so before it's washed, after it's washed, we end up with something like that. So Mexican baby carrots. So we haven't talked about the brine yet, but let's talk about what's in each jar. Each jar, these are small jars, so you want to make sure that you're, kind of doing it proportionally, but 1 clove of garlic, half a hot jalapeno, half a cinnamon stick, 1 fresh bay leaf, half a tablespoon cumin seed, half a tablespoon coriander seed, half a teaspoon fennel seed, and half a teaspoon of black peppercorns. Then what you're going to do is you're going to fill it with the baby carrots. And we'll get right back to you with a full jar of baby carrots. Alright, so now we've got the carrots and all the spices in the jar. You basically put all the spices in first, and then you pack the carrots in as tightly as you can without bruising them. Then we've got the brine, which is, for this amount, 5 cups apple cider vinegar, 3 cups water, 3 tablespoons kosher salt, 3 tablespoons brown sugar, and basically that's enough for 4 pounds of baby carrots. So what you do is you combine all those ingredients in the brine, then you bring it to a boil, and while it's right after boiling, you basically fill up the jars to within a ½ inch of the rim of the jar. Then you put the caps on the jars and the screw tops, and then you process for 15 minutes in boiling water. So we're going to go through that process. Once you take them out of the water, you just let them sit and cool, and as they cool, you'll hear a, let me give you that again. And that sound means that the air is, the jar is sealed, no more air can get in or out, and it can sit, and it can probably last a year or 2 or probably even 10. You want to give these at least 2-3 weeks to absorb all those flavors in these carrots, and the cumin and the hot pepper and the coriander and all these delicious spices. So you want to give at least 2-3 weeks, maybe more, and these are going to be delicious even a year from now. So let's get started. So we take the hot brine and we put it into the jars, and once again within a ½ inch of the top. They call that head space. Right about there. Then in the meantime, you are heating in hot water your caps and lids. And how about this nifty tool? You don't have to ever burn your hands again. You can get, well, it doesn't always work as well as I want it to. You get your cap. That's how it's supposed to work. You bring it over. You put it on your jar. Then you get your screw cap. Oh, I missed a step. We're going to go back. We're going to take that cap off. You're supposed to try and get any air bubbles out of there, and they're pretty much going to get out on their own. Maybe you tap it a little bit. But one absolute key thing here to ensure that you've got a clean seal is to make sure that you wipe the rim of the jar before you put your top and cap on. That way there's nothing that's going to screw up the seal. So then you've got a perfectly good and ready to go in to be processed jar of carrots. You use this tool, and we'll be back to you in 1 second and show you the processing. So now you've got your carrots, your jalapenos, your garlic, and all your spices in there, as well as the hot boiling brine. The next and final step is called processing, and that's where you take this jar and you put it in boiling water for about 15 minutes. And you want to make sure that the jar is up off the bottom of the pot here so that it's not in direct heat. Oftentimes these will crack. We've lost a few and that just happens. So what I did is I just put one of those cookie baking things where, you know, whatever they're called, grates or something. So what we'll do is we'll put these jars in there and let them process for 15 minutes, and basically this is the process that gets rid of all, hopefully all, of the organisms that might be in there. You've taken the air out of there, and then as the extra double measure, you've got salt and vinegar, highly acidic, so that nothing can grow in there. Not only will it pickle and ferment, but it also eliminates the ability for anything to grow in salt and vinegar in such an acidic situation. So 15 minutes, then we'll take it out of there. I'm going to set the timer and let the magic happen. So there you have it. 15 minutes in the boiling water. You let them cool. Well, you take them out. You let them cool. After they start cooling, the tops go ping or and let it cool. Put them away in a dark place, dark and cool place. Let the flavors gather and penetrate the carrots. And I think they're best if you chill them. Have them with some cheese and crackers or other crudité or charcuterie, things like that. Simple, delicious, enjoy. Okay, well, thank you for watching. This is the Backyard Farmer signing off. The complete recipe is down below, and please make sure that you like our video on YouTube, and stay tuned for more videos coming up on pickling and sausage making and honey making and all the things we do here at the Backyard Farmer.